been doing very good all game, and you'll notice that there's actually like another good bit of bar left in the game. Like it's not quite over yet. This is really, I think, a pretty big setback for Fix. He's not going to be able to build any new units for a while because he lost the effective 10 supply out of the town hall. He's not going to be able to build any more destroyers. He can't buy scrolls of healing from his shop, although he doesn't really need those anymore. That's one thing I wanted to mention. As it gets into the later parts of the game, you really need to switch away from ghouls. Let me talk briefly about the positioning here, though. You notice Fix basically headed straight for the Orc player's base. What he was trying to do at this point and succeeded in is he wanted to catch Ciara's army going across the map. Because totally what Ciara is trying to do here is keep on pushing Fix's base so that his expansion can get up. He was able to like catch Ciara trying to cross the map, and instead now of Ciara pushing Fix's base and screwing him over even further, because if you look at Fix's base, he's got a lot of buildings that are like he's got a couple of towers that are almost dead. If he was able to push Fix's base at this point without Fix's army there, he'd be able to really set Fix back. Like, it would probably be another like 5-10 minutes before Fix ever built any units again. Furthermore, Fix would have he may actually like have lost all his acolytes or something in his gold mine. He would have been really screwed. So what he's going to do is he's going to quickly try and take down. He just leaves a couple of ghouls to take down that the peons in that expansion, and he's going to haul ass back to his base because, as I just explained to you, it would be very bad if Ciara got into his base at this point. I think if once Ciara had lost Fix here, if he had really like gone straight to his base, he might have been a little bit better off. Although he kind of doesn't have much of an army left. Okay, I was still trying to say, you can mark the time when the Orc is hitting tier 2 by looking at the number of dots on the time of day indicator in the center of the map, or the center of the top of the view. Let's see, I had so much to say earlier, and now I have absolutely nothing left. One of the things that I would like to mention that Fix actually didn't do in this game, I highly recommend that whenever you get your Lich second, if you're going Ghouls, you don't necessarily need to get Frost Armor right away. If you're going Fiends, you absolutely need to train Frost Armor first. But even then, I would at least, like at level 2 or level 4, train up one level of Frost Armor. It ends up being very useful at all phases of the game against Orc. For example, if he's trying to focus down one of your heroes, you pop Frost Armor on it, it's going to die a lot slower, you're going to have a lot more time to coil it, or if it's the Death Knight, he might actually like escape instead of dying. That sort of thing. The Farseer just went down. That's a product of the undead hero levels being superior to the Orc ones at this point. You know how right after he canceled that expansion, Fix went and crept the red camp? That was what he was intending by doing that, so you're seeing that kind of paying off. Oh yeah, and the late game, once your ghouls start to die off, it's usually, this applies like to when you're going against Night Elf as well. It's usually a bad idea to replace like a large army of ghouls. They're really great for like that first fight, but as your opponent's hero levels start to get higher, ghouls really start to suck because, for one thing, the Tauren Chieftain with Stomp, or Shockwave for that matter, is Stomp basically prevents you from doing any damage, and Shockwave will kill all your ghouls. You end up having to keep feeding healing scrolls to it and that sort of thing, and they become less and less effective as your opponent gets higher and higher level area of effect spells. So it basically ceases to become cost effective. So what you want to do against Orc, Fiend Destro is probably the most stable thing to switch to. You can also try Frostworms. Frostworms are actually excellent against Orc. They don't get used a whole lot, I think, because Destros are a safer bet. You get obsidian statues along the way and everything. But I have seen quite a few games, even at relatively high levels, where they skip I've seen people skip the slaughterhouse entirely and just go straight for frost arms, things like that. It ends up being pretty damn nice. Really, I think at this point it is mostly cleanup for Fix. Once again, the Orc expansion is going to fall here, and at a basic level, the Undead vs. Orc matchup is entirely a matter of whether or not the Orc can get an expansion up and like be able to profit from it long enough that he can mass up a larger army than the Undead player. Undead units are, as you know, extremely efficient, especially like once they hit tier 3. So that's really, Orc generally needs that expansion. I mean, there's some exceptions to that, like for example, if the Orc is able to like badly out hero level you, especially like with a Blade Master, but even with the Farseer Torn Chieftain combo, that can be a problem even if the Orc player doesn't have an expansion. But overall, you know, the expansion is what you need. So now that Fix has managed to take down that expansion one more time, you know, and he's got a much larger army. CR is like 38 supply versus Fix's 52, and once again, Undead can even win sometimes with a slightly smaller army. With a much larger army, they're almost guaranteed victory. So that is why CR is running away like a little bitch at this point, because he knows there's absolutely no way he could win a fight here. I'm not really sure what he's necessarily buying time for. One thing that I've noticed that good players do, and one thing that I do, like when I'm playing at my best, is I don't really think so much about whether or not I've lost the game at this point. I just keep microing my ass off, and I do my best, you know, in any situation. Because sometimes, you know, I see it happen on ladder. Like, people that I'm going up against, they'll give up too quickly. There's sometimes when I've quit and I've watched the replay and I've been like, damn, you know, I gave up too quickly. Lich gets surrounded here. This is a situation, you know how I said it's a good idea to get Frost Armor? If Fix had gotten Frost Armor here, this Lich wouldn't have died. It ends up not mattering because, you know, he's got such an overwhelmingly huge army at this point that there's absolutely nothing CR can do to win. But had this been like a closer matchup, having that Lich get surrounded like that would have been a pretty big problem. And, you know, Liches get focused, it happens. So that's one of the many situations where Frost Armor is a good spell to have. Yes, having the extra mana for the extra Novas is wonderful, but yeah, Frost Armor ultimately, I think, ends up being more cost-effective. One thing that I wanted to mention, and this is very important, in the early game, when you're playing Tier 1, you need a lot more Ghouls against Orc than you do when you're going Ghouls against the other races. Like, you really have to build all the way to 29 supply, because otherwise you're not going to have enough units sometimes to complete your surround, especially if 1 or 2 Ghouls gets killed off. So keep that in mind. You know, you still start your tier 2 tech at the normal time, but after you start that tech, build yourself all the way up to like 29 or 30 supply worth of Ghouls. At the most, you're going to have like maybe like 1 or 2 of those on lumber, and the rest of them need to be playing aggressively. Like once you've gotten your Death Knights level 2, you need to go in and try and like kill his tier 2 buildings. In the process of that, you're often going to end up skirmishing with his army, but that's an opportunity to surround either the Farseer, cost him a town portal, or get like a Grunt Surround or 2. Keep an eye on your Ghoul's health. Once you've got like a lot of them that are damaged, it's time to at least send those away. Usually it's going to mean it's time for your entire army to retreat. One of the rookie mistakes that I tend to make a lot, and I see other people make, is going for a surround when you don't have the Ghoul health to support it. So if you've got like 3 Ghouls that are like almost in the red or something like that, and you get a surround, they're just going to get killed. The unit that you're surrounding is going to get away, and you're going to end up, you know, saying TT. So don't let that happen. Just the most that you're going to be able to get probably is like 2 grunt kills or like a hero surround and a grunt kill. Even that is like very good. So don't expect to get that every game. Just kind of use your head about it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I know I was kind of out of it in certain parts. I blame that on being sick. So I'm not going to really re-record that one. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. This is Fray signing out.